Hi, everybody. I know that last time I promised to build an intro scene with music, but it seems that I completely forgot about one more important topic, the game localization, which is a shame because I used to work in the localization industry for 7 years and already participated in localization of several games, so I should still have it in my mind. Anyway, let me show you how we can prepare our game for localization in Godot 4 and localize it. I know it would be ideal if everyone in the world spoke the same language, but we know that the reality is different and the linguistic diversity exists. So it is essential to allow players to enjoy our game in the language of their choice. Let me start with some theory and two important terms, which are internationalization and localization. They are often used in the context of adapting products or services for different markets. Let me explain them a little bit. So, first, internationalization, which is often abbreviated as I18N, since there are 18 letters between I and N in this word, refers to creating a product that can be easily translated and customized for different countries or regions without requiring significant changes to the underlying structure or code. Internationalization focuses on making the product flexible and adaptable from the start. On the other hand, localization, which is abbreviated as L10N, again 10 letters between L and N, involves translating and customizing the product's content, design, and functionality to meet the cultural, linguistic, and regulatory requirements of a particular target audience. Okay, I think that it might be better to clarify that with a simple example, and let me do that with our label at the heads-up display, hull integrity. So first, in this label, we have a hard-coded value hull integrity here in the property text. To internationalize that, we will replace it with a key which we call main label hull integrity. Okay, as I said, this is the internationalization, as it allows us to dynamically replace the key with the particular language version of the text. Then we will create a text file with the English and Czech versions of this label. So we will write whole integrity and integrita trupu there. And that was the localization. And it wouldn't be possible if the label wasn't internationalized first. In Godot, we can easily do that for various assets, not only the text, but for now, we will concentrate on localizing only the text elements. So let's start with creating a CSV file with several entries. CSV stands for comma separated value, and it's a simple text format that is used by Godot to support localization. So the simplest way is to use a plain text editor, but of course you can export to CSV from various spreadsheet applications like Microsoft Excel or Google spreadsheet. I think that's so. Let's create this file and add a few entries. First, we need to start with the header, so that would be keys n and cz. So keys means that the first value would be the key, just like we used here as menu label hull integrity, and then the list of language codes follows, and for English, CZ for Czech. And I will add 3 entries for the 3 buttons from the menu screen. So it would be menu button start. Yeah, it's the same. And now menu button settings. Settings. Nastavení, and finally menu button exit exit and ukončit. Okay, and let's save this file somewhere, for example here to my download folder, and let's call it translations.csv. Okay, save. And now in Godot we will create a new top level folder called translations. Right click, create new folder, translations. Okay, let's go there. It should be here, and we will copy this newly created file translations.csv there. Let's do it. Sometimes Godot shows some errors, but it seems that it was imported correctly because these two files with extensions CZ translation and N translation were created. Okay, let's proceed with opening the project settings, and we'll go to the tab localization and add these two translated files. These 1 and 2. Let's open, and now the translations localization is active for these two languages. Let's close it, and now we will open the menu screen, where it is, here, and switch to 2D editor, and let's localize these buttons. So we'll simply copy and paste the keys from the text CSV file here. I will start with this one, Control C and Control V. Now settings, for the settings button, and finally the exit button. Okay, done. And now, when we start the game, Godot will automatically recognize these keys and replace them with the value related to the current locale, which is English by default. So I'll start it, and we should see there shouldn't be any change here. Okay, this is correct. Let's exit the game. Okay, I stopped recording and changed all other labels and text. So we won't spend time on that. So now you can just see the result here. This is the main screen, this is the heads-up display, and for example the full settings page and key bindings. So now if we run it and it is correct, we should just see the game as it was before, because it's still in English. And if we want to test it in other languages, we need to introduce a new switch to the settings page, which will allow us to change the language from here. Let's go back and exit, and we'll do it now. I open the settings scene and switch back to 2D. Oh, it's already there. And now we need a new option button as a language selector. I think we can copy and paste this window size option button. So let's just duplicate that and move it to the bottom here and rename it. Okay, this one would be language label and language option button. Okay, and I think we already prepared the correct keys in the translations file, so let me set them. I think it would be language, most likely. If not, I'll fix it later. Let's just try it. Open the game, switch to setting. Yeah, language is here. Good. Nothing is here yet. We need to fill it first. Let's click the option button, and we need to connect the signal. This one should be disconnected, and let's double click item selected signal again and connect it to the settings script. Okay, and now before we implement this method, we need to add a new structure to the options manager. Let's find this script. Here it is, and this structure would contain all currently supported languages. So let's put it here, for example, var local list is, again, it would be an array of dictionaries, and this time we will choose local, and which would be N for English, and label, which is actually the key from the CSV file we'll use for localize this label as well. And the value is, the key name is settings language N. Okay, and let's copy this line and do the same for check. CZ. Great. Now in the same script, we'll create a function to activate the current locale at the game start. So let's scroll down and create func set locale. Again, we need to read the options first, because if the locale was changed before, it is stored in the options, and the player most likely wants to play the game in the same language as before. Okay, and now if not, options has locale, which would be the default state first time we start the game after this option was added. So option locale is the default locale that is English. All right, and now to set it, it's done through the translation server. Translation server set locale with a simple locale code. So it would be options and locale, which is either the stored value or the default value taken from here. And finally, let's write options in case there was a change. And we will send the whole options structure. Okay, this should be fine in this script. And now, as I said, we want to call this function on the game start, which is currently made at the menu scene. So we will add it here. Options manager. Okay, here, and set locale. Right? And of course, we need to add some code to the settings script as well, because on the settings page we will actually do the change. So first, let's add a reference to the new option button. Drag and control, release, and it's here. And let's make it as a standalone function, because the code would be a little longer than just usual one-liners here. So let's prepare the function that would be called reload language options. Func reload language options. So first, as usual, we will clear this option button in case that there was something else there before. And now we just need the index again to detect the current value and set it as the default value in the option button. For language in options manager, the newly created array of supported locales, which is locale list. And let's iterate through that. So language option button, add item. And Now we need to localize this thing. Let's get back to Options Manager. We need to localize this key, but since it's not included anywhere in the inspector, it wouldn't be localized automatically by Godot. So instead, we can use an internal function tr as for translate and just put the key here. So the key is in this case language and the property label. Okay, and yeah, and we need to check if we should select the default value based on the index. So if language locale is equals to stored value options locale, then language option button select this index. And of course, at the end of the cycle, index must be incremented. All right, this is the first function, and as I said, we will call it from the ready function. Let's put it here. Reload language options. And now there is this callback on the change in the language option button. So let's implement it here. First, we'll get the selected language data structure. Language is options manager, locale list, and index. And now let's set it in the options. Options locale is language locale, which would be either N or CZ, depending on the selected index. And now we need to store it. So options manager, write options, and activate it. Options manager, set locale. Great. And we need to refresh the UI, which means we just simply call reload language options, the function we created right here. Okay. And optionally, we can also add flags to these list items. It would look nice because sometimes if we switch to a language we are not familiar with by accident, it might be difficult to find the right language to switch it back. But the flags can be very useful in that. So I downloaded some freely distributed flag images from one of many sites, and you can just Google them and you'll get a lot of results. And let's copy the images to the subfolder translation, and just not to mess them with the CSV file, let's create another subfolder here, flags. All right, and now I put them here. Let's just import them. There we go, nice flags check and British. Okay, and now in the script options manager, we want to extend our structure by the flags. So first we need to import them. This would be done here by typing var and flag is, and let's do this with Control key, preload it, and do the same for the check flag. Okay, and now we can add a new key and value here. It would be flag and en flag, and the same here for check flag and CZ flag. Okay. And that's not everything. We need to add it to the option button as an icon. So let's get back to the settings script and we will just modify one line here. Instead of add item, we will use the method add icon item and add a new parameter here as the icon. So that would be language.flag. All right, I think we can try it out now. Let's start the game. Go to settings and we can now see it here with flags. Let's try to switch to Czech. Yeah, here it goes. Nice, isn't it? I mean, it's probably nice if you understand this language, otherwise it might look like total gibberish to you, but luckily we can easily switch it back, and here we go. Let's improve the selector's look a little bit, because it seems that there is no space between the flag and the text, so I will just exit the game and do that. We can simply find the option button properties in inspector, and let's go to button section and expand text behavior. I think the text could be aligned to the right, and in the icon behavior we will align the icon to the left, and it is already there, so nothing is required to do here. And let's try this option, expand icon on, and let's see if it's better or not. Settings, yeah, there is a small space here, so it probably looks a little bit better, not too much, but anyway, it's a working switch, and that's what we wanted. Let me just check if it works in Czech in other pages. Yeah, this looks about right. I forgot to check the key bindings. Okay, perfect. Everything is localized as expected. And if we start the game, yeah, even the heads-up display and probably the loading label as well. Of course, it doesn't make any sense to localize the debug overlay, because we use it only during the development, and no customer, no player would just see it anytime. Okay, let's exit the game and switch it back to English, and this should be everything regarding this topic. Let's exit the game. Now, once the game is localized, we might want to do something about the mouse cursor as well. I mean, the project is capable of functioning with the default mouse cursor if desired, of course, but maybe you want to customize it to give it some look that would be related to the game graphics and other things. In fact, Godot provides two options to achieve that. We can either alter the cursor globally for all scenes during the project settings, or we can utilize a function call within the script. In our situation, we will opt for the simpler approach. As for the cursor, we have two choices. We can obtain a free cursor from various online sources, or we can design our own. While I was working on my book, I decided to try out the latter and in fact design my own cursor. And for the inspiration, I looked at the player's ship model and made the cursor out of this front main weapon. It turned out to be a pretty straightforward process, so let me just briefly explain it. I mean, I won't repeat the whole process, just shortly explain what I did. So basically I rotated the ship for the top view to get a better look at this target object, and switched perspective to orthogonal, so there are no unexpected perspective things. And I think that I turned off the visibility of all these parts just to make sure that the weapon isn't obstructed by anything else. Yeah, body, it's here. And then also I turned off the gizmos, these circles, and the square background and everything else, the grid, everything is turnable, everything can be switched off. And after there was only this weapon left, I think that I simply made a screenshot and worked with the screenshot in GIMP, I suppose, in a bitmap editor, and I removed the background and replaced it with transparent pixels around the cursor shape. And I think that was everything to obtain the result, which I probably have here. Yeah, so now we can import it to Godot. And it's important to import a format which is recognized by Godot. I mean the PNG or JPG or anything like that, not the cursor file, which is sometimes exported from some special software. So let me just move the cursor image here to the top folder, and here it is. Now how we can activate it? Let's go to project settings and switch back to general. The mouse cursor section is here in display. Let's click it. We will locate our file and put it there. Double click. OK. Close. And let's see if we didn't forget to deactivate the mouse cursor in the main scene. So let's open the main scene, the main script, and find the ready function. Alright, it seems we indeed forgot that. So let's make it the first line here. Game manager capture mouse. Okay, and let's start the game. And we can see our new cursor here. It works perfectly. It should be on the settings page as well and key bindings. But after we start the game, it should disappear. Yeah, it's no longer there. We can play as we want to. And once we finish the game, the cursor reappears. Okay. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. And next time, which will be most likely the final video of this course, we will get to the intro scene with some very basic animations and the background music. See you next time.